Hello to the first in a series of our introduction to the Cricut Design Space. Today we'll be looking at the software and getting a little overview, and then I'll also be showing you how to use templates and inserting shapes and text. We're going to do that in the context of making a card. So quickly, I would just like to take a look at the home screen here of the Cricut Design Space. When you get a Cricut, you need to download the software in order to make the things that Cricut will cut, because the Cricut machine is pretty self-explanatory, but it's the design space that you really need to really get your hands dirty using, and that's what these videos are for. So this is the Cricut Design Space. I've downloaded it to my laptop, but you can download it to your PC. You can download the app to your tablet or your phone even. And this is the home screen. So you'll see on the left here, there's a couple things that repeat that are also at the top of the home page. So we've got two menus here, okay? We've got a learning plan. These are just some really great videos that help you learn how to use the design space that Cricut has put together. So if you want to learn more, I highly suggest taking a look at these videos and watching them to learn how to do different projects or how to utilize different aspects of the Cricut Design Space that I may not cover. My stuff is just that. It is all the things that you have worked on and saved, all of your different projects that you have done and saved to the design space. The Maker 3, now that is the type of Cricut that we have here that we work with at the library. There are all these different types of Cricuts that you can see. We also have a Cricut Joy here at the library that you can check out and take home. It uses the same design space software. It's just a much smaller version, and you can do less with it because of its size. But it's pretty great if you're making cards or you're doing some quick vinyl cutting. Our Maker 3 is one of the newer makers. We also have a Cricut Explore here at the library, which is one of the older Cricuts. The Cricut 3 cuts way more things, fabric, balsa wood, leather. It engraves. It can engrave glass even. It engraves metal, and it can emboss. So lots of cool stuff there that it can do. So you always want to make sure it's on the correct Cricut machine that is plugged into your device. On this left-hand side here, again, we have Discover. We've got the learning plan, the My Stuff. This heat guide we'll talk about later on in different videos, but it's a great tool that Cricut has set up to use some of their accessories, such as their mug press, which presses on ink into a mug. It's very cool. Again, that's another video. And also the heat press, which helps to evenly distribute heat for that iron-on vinyl that so many people like to use to make t-shirts and stuff. Cricut Learn, again, just another resource for you to learn more about the Cricut and how to use it. And then Shop, it's just their web shop where you can buy Cricut machines, accessories, and materials. One other thing I want to point out is this Cricut Access. That is a service that Cricut provides. You can pay for it monthly or you can pay for it yearly. And what it does is it just gives you a lot more choices as far as images, as far as fonts. A lot of the fonts, if you don't have Cricut Access, you do have to pay for individually. But with Cricut Access, you have pretty much free reign over all of the fonts and images, unless they are the special ones like Disney or Marvel. And there's a couple other ones too that you do still have to pay for if you are a subscriber to Access. So, like I said, today we're going to be making a card in order for me to show you some of the features of the Cricut Design Space. So what we're going to do is we're going to head up here to this new project and click. And then that's going to open up our canvas. This is what you are going to be designing all of your projects on. And it is similar to, it mimics the mat that you put your materials on to be cut that you feed into the Cricut. So that is obviously extremely helpful when you are designing a project. So you'll see that there are, again, a number of different menus on this screen. We have the left-hand menu right here that is currently lit up. And then once we choose what we're going to be doing, this top menu will also light up and it will change. So we're going to try and cover a number of things today with both of those menus. This right-hand menu too will be showing our different layers of our projects, which I will explain a little later when we get into our project more. So let's take a look here at our first topic, and that is templates. So click on that and you'll see that Cricut has a billion different templates for a bunch of weird things, in my opinion, but who knows? Maybe you do need a template for a pacifier or potentially some skis. I don't use too many of those. I kind of stick with the more traditional things on the Cricut. I really like to use them for banners. These are great. And today, like I said, we're going to be using it for a card. So up here at the top, you can change your canvas type, and then it will limit down the different templates available. So we're going to do cards today. So I'm just going to click on cards. There's only one template. So we're going to click on that. All right. And as you'll see, it inserted a template. And at the top, it says that templates are for reference use only. So what that means is, although this is on your canvas right now, it is not going to cut this out. You still need to put in your shape and your scoring line in order for the Cricut to know that it needs to be cut. So we have our card template, and up here you'll see that the menu has changed. It's asking what type of card do we want? Do we want a bifold vertical, which is what it is now, or do we want a bifold horizontal? I'm going to go with a bifold vertical today. And now it's asking what size. 3x3 is a pretty tiny card. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that I can have a pretty decent sized card. I like to go with the 6x4. It's a nice little sized card, not too big, not too small. And so now that we have our template set, now we have to put in our shapes. So we go down here to our shapes, and this gives us a whole different slew of shapes. These are the ones you would have without access. And right here where it has the little green, looks like a little flag that has an A on it, these are shapes that would only be available to you via access subscription. So you can see there's a couple of different fancier shapes. This one has just a plain rectangle. This one has a rectangle that has little cutoff corners. This one has inverted corners, so we could make our card a little fancier. But today I'm just going to go with our regular rectangle. So that plugs in a shape. Obviously, it is not big enough for our card, so we have to make it fit the shape of our template. So you can drag and make your shape larger by grabbing any one of those four corners that have a little square on it and making it larger. And you can move your shape around by clicking on it and holding the left side of your mouse button, your left button of your mouse. All right. So as you can see, when I did that, it didn't quite fit my template. It made it a little bit bigger than what I wanted. So I'm going to go back up here and we can change the size right here on this upper menu. Now, right now, the proportions are unlocked, which is what we want. But if you click on it, and it will lock the proportions. And that means that when you change one proportion, be it width or height, it will change the height or the other proportion in tandem with it so that it will be proportionate. However, that's not working for us because we actually need it to be a little longer than it is wide. So I'm going to unlock that again, and I'm going to increase the height so that it fits my template. I'm actually going to increase that, or decrease, excuse me, that width a little bit. All right. Decrease the height a smidge and move it down. And now it fits within our template. As you can see, boop, boop. Okay. Actually, it looks like I could make it a smidge wider. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to insert another shape, and that's going to be our scoring line. So the scoring line, the Cricut uses a special wheel that perforates the line into your card so that you know exactly where the middle is and exactly where to fold it, and that perforation makes the card easier to fold. So we're going back into shapes, and the scoring line is part of the free shapes that you have access to without access. So you always will have access to that. So we're going to click on that, and there it is. So we're going to take it, and we're going to move it right on top of that perforated line of our template, and we're just going to drag down so that it will score all the way through. So now we're set. The scoring line is set. Now, for ease of use for myself, I'm a visual learner, so I like to be able to visualize the whole project in the correct colors that I want my card to be. So I don't really want to have a black card. So I want to change the color of my shape. So I'm going to go up here where it says Operation Basic Cut, and then it has this little square next to it that's black. I'm going to click on that square. And now I'm going to change my colors. So Cricut starts you off with these default colors. However, if you want to add colors and you want more choices, you can just click on Advanced. And say you have this interesting reddish gray color of cardstock, you could click that. Or how about the brightest of lime greens cardstock? Maybe you're making a really bright green St. Patrick's Day card. Or maybe you have more of a forest green because you're making a Christmas card with a very dark green cardstock. So you can change all the different colors that you want to try and match the exact colors of your cardstock. Sometimes I do this to really see how the colors will go together. Otherwise, sometimes if I'm not as persnickety about it, I'll just pick a general color. So I'm just going to pick blue. Be like, okay, I'll figure out what blue cardstock I have, but blue will be fine right now. So actually, I'm just going to keep it at blue. So you can see a little better how our shape fits into that template and how our scoring line is in the middle of the card. So now that we've kind of manipulated our shape a little bit and we've put in our scoring line, we're ready to put in another shape for the front of our card. So this card that I'm making is going to be a happy birthday card. So I need to find something, either happy birthday image or a happy birthday saying, something to put on the front of my card. So we're going to go over here and we're going to click on images. And as you can see, with our access, there's well over 300,000 images in Cricut for us to search. So I am going to put in happy birthday, and I guarantee you there will be about 100,000 happy birthdays. So let's take a look. Happy birthday. 20,000 images. 20,000 images that are linked to happy birthday to choose from. So now I have to decide what image I want to put on my card. Now, this image is going to be cut out of the front of our card. And there are other things that we can do that don't involve cutting with the Cricut, but that is, again, another episode of this video series. Today, we're just learning about cutting. So I'm going to try and choose a relatively simple image to cut, nothing too crazy, and nothing that I really have to do too much to manipulate to make how I want it. So over here, you have another menu, and you can filter out your images by these different limiters. So if you want it to be free, you can click on that. I'm not going to click on that today because we have access. Editable text. I can actually show you this right here. So this one that says happy birthday, this is an editable image. So what you can do is when you do put it on your canvas, you would be able to take out this name and replace it with the name of your choice. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to go for more of a picture than the scene. I do have stuff bookmarked, but I'm not looking at that today. I haven't uploaded anything. We'll talk about that again in a different video. And I haven't purchased anything. So we're going to limit by operation type. And here's where I said we could do other things. So we do have the markers here with our Cricut, and it's very cool. The markers can draw things, and the markers can write things. So if you have a font that's a draw only font, you would put the marker in and it would draw it on your card. It's really cool. Again, I will cover that in a different video. We're just doing cut today. So we're going to click on cut. Print then cut is also another video for a different time. So we're going to click on cut only. That did reduce the images a bit. Layers. We're only going to do a single layer today. We're not going to do a multi-layer. That gets a little complicated and time consuming. So we're just going to do a single layer today. So we got it down to 7,000. Project type. Now, Cricut has a whole bunch of different accessories, and they have many, many projects to go with them. So we are just doing cards today, simple cards, nothing else. That got us down to 48. So we can then choose our material. We are just doing paper, cardstock. That's all we're doing. This gets us down to 17. You can limit by language. You can limit if it's available offline. You can limit it to licensed content, which again is Disney, Marvel, Sesame Street, Star Wars, Warner Brothers, or Cricut has its own. Or you can limit by creator. And if you have a contributing artist that you really like their artwork, you could save them and limit them by that. So let's see what we've got. Oh, this is very pretty. So that would be a lot of cutting, but it would be very pretty and a lot of weeding. So I don't know if I would suggest that for a beginner. It's a lot of weeding, and weeding is taking out all the little pieces of paper where the white spots are. So all that white would be peeling up those little pieces of paper. So I don't think we're going to do that one today. This one too, very cute, but a lot of weeding. So I limited it so much that now I'm not really happy with what images are left. So then I can go back and I can unlimit something. So I'm going to take out the cards and I'm going to see if there's anything there that I like. Because now there's 900 different things that I can go through, different images. So a lot of these say happy birthday. So a lot of this is not necessarily pictures, but fonts with a little picture with it. So I'm just going to pick one here that I like. I think I kind of like this one. I passed, so we'll go pick this one. This is probably the hardest thing is trying to find the exact right image. You could look at Cricut images all day long. I like this one. I think it'll work really nice with our blue, and it's not too much weeding. And the weeding that we will have to do isn't teeny tiny pieces. So let's choose this. So we're going to click on it, and then we're going to go down here and click Add to Canvas. So it is way bigger than our card, and we are going to have to make that much smaller. And with the image that I chose, I might actually change my card up. I might make it, whoops. I might make it horizontal instead. If you ever go out and you need to get back to your canvas, you can just click on canvas like I just did. All right. So my canvas, my template didn't quite do what I wanted it to. I'm going to go revert back. So if you make a mistake and you want to go back, you just click this back button here until it goes back to how you want it. And I actually don't really need that template anymore because I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it horizontal because I think that'll make it too confusing. But I don't really like how that looks. Let's try something. So I am going to rotate this card to see how it'll look as a horizontal. So right over here, we have a rotate button. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on it until it gets to where we want it to go. You can also rotate by, kind of have to find it. Sometimes it's a little tricky trying to find the rotate button. It's not showing up. It's a little confusing, but sometimes you'll see like a little curved arrow, and that's also helps you rotate the image or the shape. So I'm just going to continue to rotate this way. Okay. So now I have it up and down. And I'm going to take my scoring line I'm going to rotate that. So there it did. So there's our rotate button. We're going to rotate that and move that as well. It's not quite rotated right. I got to scooch it just a little more. So I'm going to use this. There we go. Now it's in the middle. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to take this happy birthday. And I do like that a little better. But not great. Maybe I need to make my card smaller. Let's try and make our shape a smidge smaller and see if that looks better. While still keeping that scoring line in the middle. Got to move it over a bit though. Yep, I just don't think I like this image. So while I have it highlighted here, I'm just going to hit the delete button. Let's find something new. Maybe we'll just go with text. Let's try our images again and see what we can find. I didn't like that. So let's do something. Not in a square. Let's try just birthday. What happens if we do just birthday? Will it be different? Kind of. We do get some different returns on that. I kind of like this one. Let's try this one. Let's add that to our canvas and see what happens. So I really want to try and make it so that it will cut out the happy birthday from the front of the card. So I'm going to change the width of it and see if that makes it look funky or if it'll still look cool. Now we got to change the height a bit, make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so now we have it. I think we need to make it just a smidge wider. There. Now it's fitting our card. So what's going to happen is that it is going to cut that out from a piece of cardstock. But I don't want it to cut it out from the actual card. I want it to be cut out from another piece of cardstock that I will then put on top of the card. So here's what we're going to do. Now that we know it fits, and we have it as a different color, it will cut it out as a different piece of paper because it's a different color. And that's how Cricut works. If it was all the same color, if I wanted it to be cut out cut out of the actual card, what I would do is I would actually, you can come over here and you can merge these two together. So we could actually weld it together. And I'm going to cover welding completely in another video, but I will just do it really quick here to show you kind of what the difference is. So we're going to click select all, and then we're going to click, actually it's not weld anymore. I'm sorry, that's an old term. We're going to click attach. And then you see how it changed? Now it will cut this happy birthday out of the card. But I don't want to do that. So I goofed. I'm going to fix it. So I click detach. And then it gives me my original design back. And I am actually going to make happy birthday. Maybe like out of a kind of like a gold color. I have some fun gold cardstock. Okay, so that is how we create or how we insert shapes, how we manipulate shapes, and how we add a scoring line to our card, and also how we size shapes. And I didn't get to text, so we have one more thing to go, and that's text. And I'm going to show you guys how to insert text. It's super simple. It's very similar to inserting shape. You click on this text button. Now I'm going to move the text. Oops, I do have that habit sometimes. I'm going to attempt to move the text box. This is a challenge for me sometimes. Click on it, and then move it. See, sometimes I forget what I'm doing. So we've got the text box here, and I want to write a little something on the back of the card. And I'm going to make it, I'm going to change the font. So it always comes out as Cricut Sans. That's the default font for Cricut. But you can change your font up here. You just click on it, and then it brings up this menu of 1,000 fonts. And we have all these fonts again because we do have access. So you can choose a font from here. You can limit your fonts by newest fonts, decorative fonts, and these just have the tag decorative connected to them. If you don't want that, maybe you want a vintage font. These are tagged as vintage fonts. That one is pretty fun. Maybe you want a stencil. These do look very stencil-y. Maybe you want a fashion font. These are in that category. So you can mix and match numerous limiters. You want a decorative fashion font. Maybe you want a chunky decorative fashion font. That's the one you get. You can limit it in any way. If you do find one that you really like, you can bookmark it. So you would click on this little bookmark and it would bookmark your font. You can download it, and then that way it is available offline, I believe. And then you can also utilize the fonts that are on your device. So these are my system fonts from my laptop. So some of them are different from what Cricut has. A lot of them are the same. But this also allows you to download fonts on your own and save them to your laptop or to your tablet, and then they will be available in the system fonts as well. So you do have a lot of choices for fonts, even if you don't have access. I'm going to go back to the Cricut fonts, and I'm just going to click on all these because I don't want those limiters anymore. And I'm just going to pick, this is cute. It's called Cricut Stretch, but we'll just use it just for the sake of showing you a font. So I just click on it, and it shows up as that in my text box. So now I need to write what I want to write. So I'm just going to write something silly. Have a wonderful day. And it's really, really big. This is way too big for my card. So I also need to change a couple other things about my font here, my text. So I'm highlighting it with a double click, and I am going to keep the styles only regular. I'm going to change the font size. So I'm going to make that way smaller. Let's see what a 50 font size looks like. That's a little better, but it's still pretty big. So let's go down to 40. Much better. And I also kind of think that the text is a little bit spaced far apart. So I'm going to change that letter spacing right here where it says letter space. I'm going to move that down to 1. I don't have to worry about line space because there is only one line. I can also change the alignment. So instead of it being center, I could make it left aligned. It doesn't change it too much here. I could align it to the top instead of the bottom. Again, it's not changing it too much because this particular font is pretty compact. You could curve it. This is pretty fun. You can make it curve in a little arc or a little smile. I like that. I've used that in a couple of projects. And then the advanced we'll get to in a different video, but you can do different manipulations to how your font looks. especially if you're doing vinyl and you want your font to connect. That's super helpful. So that will be another video, but just so you know, that is some options for you too. One thing I do want to do, because this will be on the back side of my card, is I would like to flip it. So I'm going to flip it vertically so it actually looks upside down. And then I need to flip it horizontally so that it's upside down and it will be printed the correct way. And it's still a little big. So I have two options here. I can just make it smaller to fit, or I could have changed the font size on my own. It was much easier and faster to make it fit horizontal, fit with sizing it smaller. So that's what I'm going to leave, is have a wonderful day. And I think I might add one more little thing. I saw an image of a cupcake and I kind of like that. And I might put that on the back of my card. So I'm searching cupcake to make it a lot easier. And these are, well, and so I get the cupcake wrappers as well. I think there's a little dog bone. That's very cute. I think I just need a plain old cupcake. I like this guy. We're going to pick him. We're going to add it to the canvas. We're going to size it. So it's obviously way too large. So I'm going to make it smaller. Okay. I like to bring it out here so that I can see what I'm doing and then manipulate it once I have everything done to it that I want. So I'm going to flip it again. I need to flip it vertical. I don't need to flip it horizontal this time because it's not words. So I'm going to size it and then I'm going to put it right here. I kind of just eyeball where it would be in the middle, but that looks pretty much in the middle. So this is where I'm going to end for this video. So we've learned how to insert templates. We've learned how to insert and manipulate shapes, and we've learned how to insert and manipulate text. On our next video, we'll learn how to do some attaching and combining and flattening and what all the differences those words mean. So thank you for joining me for the first Cricut Design Space class, Intro to Cricut Design Space 1. And I hope you will come back for more. If you have any questions about using the Cricut here at the library, please call the library at 414-425-8214 to speak with a librarian or myself, Carrie. And we can get you set up using the Cricut once you've watched these videos so you know how to use the design space. Thank you guys and have a happy day.